And now that we have the STEM program this summer in science, several of the parents have asked, could they enroll their children in our school? And I said, absolutely.
Well, I've got us up on a podcast now. So if you're watching us on my Facebook page or on my YouTube channel, I have Doris Taylor and her son, who's here with me, Jesse Brayboy Jr.
Yes, sir.
And Jesse, what is your role in all this?
So my role really is just to support my mother. She's been an educator all of my life, all of my known life, and I've seen so much that she's imputed in these children in terms of culture and civility and just learning, and learning and loving to learn. One of my mom's strongest talents is she understands the style of learning, and kids learn based on their style. Some are auditory learners, some are visual learners, etc. So my role really is just to support her, be there for her, dealing with the contractors and kind of, just kind of guarding her from all the rigmarole of contracting and getting things built, things done, and just being a more support to my mom and just enjoy her living legacy.
When you talk about having this as a private school as opposed to a charter school, what's the difference between the two, and why didn't the other one work out?
First of all, the charter school was great. It was fine. We had a problem with our budget, and our budget was turned in one day late, and so they denied our acceptance as a charter school. Simple as that. The private school is more autonomous. You have more. You have more control over what you do, your curriculum. Of course, we have to follow the North Carolina state standards of curriculum for all schools, so we do that. But you have, if you want to make your private school a religious private school, you can, or you can make it an independent private school. And ours at this time is independent, but you do have the autonomy. If the children want, if you want to have a Bible class to teach, you can do that. Also, the parents have to pay, but the federal government has funds. It's called the Opportunity Grant, and they can apply for that. And most parents get that 100%. So they don't have to, because there's a fee. And we know that, all parents don't have that money. But it has really worked well. Every parent that we have that's signed up has gotten the Opportunity Grant. So that's awesome.
Well, what do you say to folks who say that these private schools take money away from the public schools? And you've been involved with the public schools, so you've heard this argument sometime that the more we have these private schools opening, the less resources are available to kids who have to attend public school.
Well, that really isn't true, because if a child is not in your school, you're not going to get funds for them anyway. So the matter is, the public schools, the money's not taken away, because you only get monies for the students that you have enrolled in your school, just like in private school. And I know that people have said that, and that can be a problem. But I feel like we're still working out of the same pot of money, because we can still get monies from the federal government, as the school can still get monies for the kids that are enrolled in their school. So they really aren't losing anything, because you're only going to get funded for the kids that you have enrolled.
Now, as a principal, that for many, many years, teachers every year come out of their pockets to provide resources for our schools. And I don't understand that for a minute. Maybe I understood it when I was coming through back in the day. But with the education lottery, you would just think that there is so much money that's being generated by that. And maybe it's the way it was set up by legislators and lawmakers, that the money be used for capital projects as opposed to for teacher pay and salary and other types of things. I think that needs to be taken a look at again, because we need to make sure that our teachers are paid well.
Absolutely.
And so that we can have retention of our teachers. We have so many teachers leaving the profession.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know how do you, and it's not always just throwing money on it. There's other things that could change as well in terms of the bureaucracy and how education, and even the political stuff that goes into education.
Exactly.
And I've experienced that at Campbell University. It's not only at the high school and elementary school, it's throughout education and our secondary as well, where there's so much politics involved in the education that we lose sight of the ABCs. So you talk about that a little bit, and how you hope your school is different that way.
And funding has always, salaries, as I said, I've been in education for 50-some years. Salaries have always been at the bottom, seeming to me the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to keeping good, excellent, outstanding teachers, and it's going to be sort of like with the private school, because you can only pay what you have. And of course, I want my teachers to be top priority, because I want the best teachers. And what we have to do there is that We in the private school, so you can get donors, you can get people to give you monies into your school, and that has really, I think that will really help us because you can't start at the top when you don't have the monies to start at the top. But I certainly want to make sure that my teachers are taken care of because I want to maintain good, excellent teachers for our children.
If you're just joining me again, this is Doris Taylor and Jesse Brayboy. It's AGAPE?
AGAPE.
AGAPE Achievement Academy. Now, where is it located and how can people get in touch with you?
All right, it's located at 3421 Murchison Road, Suite O, and make sure you know Suite O is at the end of a furniture store. And we do have a Facebook page. They can go on our Facebook as Agape Achievement Academy, and we also have a website, agapeachieveacademy.com. It gives them everything they would need to know about us from the principal on down to content areas.
Hey, now, is AGAPE a name brand education source? Because I've heard that name in the past.
Yeah, there are several Agapes, and I didn't know it until I named my school Agape, and I started looking. There are several. I think it's kind of like of course, you know, it means love. It's a Greek word for love. So, and since I love education, I thought that was a good name for it. But it's a brand name.
Jesse, when you see your mom embarking on it, you encourage her. She was retiring, had her feet kicked up. She was probably baking sweet potato pies or something, minding her own business.
Yeah, man.
And you said, "Hey, Ma, what are you doing? You get back out here and get back to work."
Absolutely.
But talk about why you encourage your mom to do that.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you a little backstory. So I have a company called Agape Unit Care Services, which really was birthed out of her nonprofit back in 2001. We have a mental health day program right here on Ramsey Street. And so we do psychosocial rehabilitation for at-risk and adults with special needs. But I think with my mother, just watching her youth and watching her energy and the impact that I've seen her have on children. You know, Gilbert, we lived in Raleigh for quite a few years. I went to elementary school in Raleigh, Martin Junior High School in Raleigh, and graduated from Broughton High School in Raleigh. And that's how I kind of knew you because we had a field trip and we came to come see you guys. I remember Charlie Gaddy and all those guys back in the day. But getting back to Mom, I've just seen the impact that she's had from children way then until current, and I just think kids have a privilege to get the kind of old school. See, Big Mama's gone now, and you know back in the day, if you come home from school, you play in the street. Your neighbors say, "Get out the street if you get hit by a car." Well, if you say that now, you know, you may go to court. But that old school training, the old school civility, and you know, being a gentleman and being a young lady, I've seen those things in my mom, and this is what we need. I mean, you know as well as I know, the culture is different. It really is. And like you said yourself, you know, the old days are gone. They're gone. I know through the hallways in East Smith where she went to school, Dr. Griffin, a very, very prominent principal administrator back in that day. Those principles are gone, you know, and I just want to see through my mom to bring some of that old school culture back into the community.
Well, you speak of Dr. Griffin. He hired me to work at the school system, and a lot of you may not know that, but I've worked I produced Great Expectations, a television show that Dr. Griffin was a part of, and what a great administrator he was.
Awesome.
And again, I just went on this spiel last hour. He was the first black superintendent in Cumberland County Schools.
Sure was.
And it wasn't because he wasn't qualified. And again, I'll say it again, that this country is 250 years old, and you're going to tell me that there wasn't someone, I see it. You okay? Oh, okay. He's pointing to me about what I need to go to next. I see our next guest is here, and we want to make sure we get Kirk Deviere here. In here. The Cumberland County Schools Board of Commissioners has been just great in terms of providing funding for our school system. That's been long overdue, and you know this from Jack Britt. We've had maintenance issues that have been put on the table. Put aside for some time, and so now we're catching up with some of that stuff there. And money is just an issue. But as I was saying, Dr. Griffin was the first, not because he was black, because he was good.
He was good.
And when we lose sight of that, that's not a badge of honor to be the first black anything. That's right. To me, it is people coming to the realization that we should have done this a long time ago.
Absolutely.
And so for me, in a story, when I write about Dr. Griffin, someone, it's 3 or 4 lines down. The fact that we have a qualified Marshall Pitts, who was mayor here. He was mayor because he was good, and the people elected him for him to do what he needed to
He's
do.
qualified.
And then, by the way, he just happened to be black. Until we start thinking that way, we do ourselves a disservice to celebrate the first black, not only black, first woman, first anything. We should have gotten there a long time ago. Don't get me on that soapbox again, because
My dad was actually the first black bus driver in this town, but black bus driver. It had to be Jesse Royboy. He was the
It's
first
the
one.
city bus.
see, so here we are again. You mean to tell me before your dad there was no one black who qualified to drive a bus?
Exactly.
Okay, I make my point, and as we
With that,
with that we move. Yeah, look, the other part, and I would just say this, as a black man growing up, I'm 70 years old now, and during the course of my careers, all of them, either in education, in the military, or whatever, I faced challenges. And black men in this community who were growing up, you had to be 10 times better than your white counterpart to get normal recognition. And people to push that aside, Gilbert, let it go. No, I'm not going to let it go. Because when I run for mayor of Fayetteville, no, I'm not going to run for mayor. But my point is, we have to have a different type of reckoning with how we do. Look, good luck to you.
Thank you.
And we will have you back on as you have
good.
other things going on. Get in touch with Pat Talkington or get in touch with me directly so we can get you on a time so I can properly put you up on a podcast and share with this community what your school is doing. Because I am on a mission to find good news about good kids.
Yes.
It's easy to find the bad news. And I always told you, as a principal, I come to a school and I want to do some good news. We got to get the parent permission slip. If I want to do bad news, that's red tape. If I want to do a bad story, I walk up to the yellow tape and take all the pictures of the bodies and stuff I want to take, but nobody's asked any questions. So
and we want you to come down to the school. So,
Well,
and
invite me
one thing,
down.
I know you have to go. My mom graduated from East Smith High School, and then she walked to Fayetteville State from Seabrook Road and graduated 3.5 years. Her school is on Murchison Road, so she's coming back home.
Sure, I heard that in what you said.
Yes,
But you didn't tell us the fact that she walked to school in the snow, uphill,
That's right.
barefooted.
That's right. I will say this: she had 3 dresses for 3 years to go to school, and she washed one next day, washed one next day, and she did that.
Well, look, I told my kids
It's
I walked
crazy.
to school, and in the snow, barefoot. And then they said, "Dad, you walked to school? You had shoes? Yeah. Did you have feet? I didn't have any feet." I mean, everybody's trying to outdo each other.
Yeah.
Look, Doris, it's so good to see
Thank
you
you.
again
You
and
too.
our relationship here. And Jesse, thank you again for encouraging your mom to continue to do what she does. Because retirement, there's a lot of people think about retirement as you can only hit so many golf balls and eat so much seafood.
That's right, man.
So get back in. You're back in the saddle.
Yes,
We're proud of you.
yes.
All right, you're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. We've got Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Today will be partly cloudy with gusty afternoon thunderstorms and a high of 92. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 68, and Wednesday will be mostly sunny with a high of 90. Dangerous heat returns by the end of the week with even more spotty storms by the weekend. That is your Fayetteville forecast. I'm CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much. 81 now in Fayetteville. Hope Mills in Spring